Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. I'm here with two big turkeys, Bill Englehart and Mike Carroll, on the day after Thanksgiving.
We hope everyone had a nice day.
Turkey 1 and Turkey 2. Who's Turkey 1?
He's Turkey 1.
Yeah.
He's 1. Class of 65.
So he's
I'm
the older
6.
turkey.
Bill's actually 2 years older than me. They held him back.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I gotta say you look pretty good for 85 years old.
Yeah. I had a physical the other day. Doc said you're in great shape for men 98. Pretty poor for a guy at 76.
Mike's been a little under the weather, but he's recouping nicely.
I've had the cold from hell for about 12 days.
You better get it checked out.
I have. There's nothing they can do for it, I don't think.
It's great, David. I call him on the phone
I can't talk.
and I get to talk.
Yeah.
You know, there's a joke there where when I was a judge, I had pneumonia one day. And Doc Sammons told me I got to get to the emergency room. I had pneumonia. I said, well, I'll drive up. So I called my bailiff, Bill Kleiss. I said, Bill, can you run me the emergency room? I got pneumonia. He goes, I got to work today. I said, Bill, I'm the judge. You work for me. He goes, oh, that's right. So I had to promise him to buy him food at Perkins afterwards.
No kidding.
I first called Randy Bergerson. I said, can you take me to the emergency room? He said, well, I got Rotary at 11. I got library board. I can do it about 1 o'clock. I said, okay. So just the emergency room. So anyway, they took me up there, and I was sick. So my Nell Gilpin, the court reporter, and Becky Lucas, my secretary, both called up to Bill about 2 o'clock. And he said, Bill, how is it? Bill said, it's bad. I said, how bad is it? He says, it's so bad he didn't talk all the way up.
Yeah, that's bad.
Looks bad.
So Ingo calls me, and I just listened to Bill talk Babylon.
Yeah.
So we rescheduled because of Thanksgiving. We could have done this Wednesday, and apparently the reason we didn't is because Mike couldn't talk. So
That's about the truth. Really could.
I was willing to. Bill, you can be the star today.
Okay.
Did you have lots of turkey yesterday?
No, I was. We went over to Becky's sister. I was told we were going to have roast beef and mashed potatoes and gravy. And then the day before we went, I thought, well, maybe I can eat that because I've lost my appetite. It became ham and yams. I said, ham and yams. So, and then about an hour before we left, she said, we're down to sloppy joes. So it was ham and yams. It was really good. A lot of food, but it's amazing. I'm just not that hungry.
When you lose your appetite, that means you don't feel good.
Yeah.
That's the way I am.
We had tons of food. I went to my sister's, and I make the baked beans. I'm the baked bean maker in the family. And I also made a sour cream chocolate cake from scratch. And
you got a recipe? You like a recipe cooker?
Yeah, I got my mom's recipe. Well, my baked beans, I don't measure anything. All kinds of pies. We had homemade ice cream. My uncle made homemade ice cream.
Whoa.
How many porters showed up?
Turkey ham. Well, we had a house full. We had all but one of my siblings was there. And then spouses, and had my mom and dad and my aunt and uncle were there.
How's your mom and dad doing?
A nephew. Well, they're getting along.
Good. That was good they could attend.
They made it to Thanksgiving. That's good.
Yeah. But they're getting older. I think dad's 86.
Yeah. When I was a young kid, we got together at the McGuires, Bernice and Avery, my grandparents, and they had 10 kids, all the grandkids. I think we had over 30 in her little house there on East North Central Avenue by the railroad tracks, by Joe Caldwell's down around the corner.
Yeah.
Behind where you used to live, didn't you?
No, we didn't.
Oh, that was Mark Wright lived behind us.
Yeah.
And I remember eating on the edge of a chair, sitting on the edge of a chair while somebody sat in the chair. But man, I can remember those huge meals where you just.
Oh yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
I just did the math. It looks like dad's 87.
David later, I remember in grade school sometime, I guess I was a spoiled brat, go figure, but I didn't like the school lunch,
They used to serve turkey.
I remember North Ward, South Ward salmon patties, and
Oh well, that was on Fridays. You had salmon.
but the food just wasn't, baked beans. Green beans.
When Dorothy Fry cooked at South Ward, it was supposed to be really great food.
I think it's North Ward I didn't like.
Might have been.
So Mom paid Grandma to cook for me at lunch, and I went down all by myself to my grandma's house every noon at 4th or 5th grade.
I'll be darned.
And maybe 6th grade. And Grandma could not cook for one person. She only cooked for 30. So there was a 10-quart pot of tomato soup. There was a whole coconut cream pie. It was heaven.
That's when you grew so much.
I did grow. I sprouted.
You sprouted up.
Well, I like of course I was later, but I like the rectangular pizzas that we got at school. Those were good.
I like the ice cream bars.
Okay. I like the hot dogs. And
I remember ice cream bars.
I remember the closest I came to dying was hot dogs. The ketchup wouldn't squirt. And I held it up kind of to my shoulder and shook it and squeezed it real hard. And bam, I had Don Fortney right across the chest with a great big river of ketchup. And I thought, Don, that wasn't on purpose. And Don did not beat me to death.
I had a similar experience with a pork fritter. I had the pork that's breaded but I stuck the tip of the ketchup inside the pork, the breading, and squeezed it and swelled up real big. And then I took a bite out of it and squirted across the table onto the girl, which was Linda Stevens, across the table from me. That was embarrassing.
Well, I don't mind being embarrassed. I just mind getting beat to death by a great big strong guy. Don, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but they also had a little chocolate cake with white icing. Remember that one?
That was good.
Oh man!
But when you were in school, David, I remember those pork fritters because we could order from the delivery person a box for personal use. And I do that.
Don't forget, a lot of the food we got at grade school was the reject food surplus they gave to school.
Well, I know it, but one of the best stories we had was when Jimmy Carter was president. Guess what we had? And Bill Sargent had a 5-gallon bucket, I think, of.
I'm guessing peanuts.
Gee, we had in the storage room at East Prairie, we had peanuts coming out our ears.
Well,
it was government commodity.
And the cheese.
Yeah.
I was never a fan of school lunch. I know they tried hard, but.
So Mike, is reject food, is that food for rejects or rejected?
I think it's surplus. The government has surplus grain. They got grain storage. They try and support the farmers, and we just got. I don't think it was prime cut beef. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Well, the government spends a lot of money on milk and cheese too.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a lot of that.
Well, they want to price support it so they don't go under. Nation's got to take care of its food supply. Nation takes care of its farmers. I think maybe they were taking too good a care. What do you think?
I think maybe so. Okay, I'm ready for picture.
You ready for pictures? So
How
it'll,
about you, David?
I can be ready. Let me see what I got here.
You're still back in the old days here. This is the paleontology era.
I got some different pictures for next week, but this will be this week. There's still some of the ones from
Oh man,
that I
look
had
at that.
before.
This is Bill's class.
This is my class.
Bill and I both dated one of these girls. Guess which girl Bill and I both dated?
Oh, that
And in
reminds me,
fact-
I've got your print for you too, Mike.
And in fact, thank you. In fact, Bill and I got in a fight over Villa Grove.
Yeah. The only time we really got into it was over
And
this girl.
Yeah, Greg Skinner pull a 5-iron out.
Yeah.
I walk near you.
Uh,
You chicken shits. One guy coming against two of you, and you had to pull a 5-iron out.
well, you were big.
Yeah. So who did Bill and I both date there?
I'm not gonna venture a guess.
Go ahead, Bill.
Far left, that's Ellen Anderson. Ellen Leonard now married to our good friend Matt for many, many years. Ellen was a swell gal.
Back in the 8th grade, 7th grade.
Yeah.
Good gal.
Yeah, good dancer.
Good dancer. And,
Yeah.
had an
Lived
older-
on Buckner Street when I was little.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she had an older brother, Lloyd, that could tear us in two if he ever.
Yeah. Had a younger brother named Bill,
Billy.
who was a good boy.
And then right next to Ellen was her best friend in high school, Linda Callahan.
And you know what? She was a sharp gal. She married Bill Anderson, I think, from Marcola.
From Marcola?
I believe so.
I'll be darned.
Then we have Becky Alexander.
Who died probably
Becky Wynn.
3 years ago, 4 years ago?
It's been a couple now. Yeah, it's probably 3 years
That's
ago now.
our school superintendent's aunt, Becky,
Right, Aunt Becky.
and then Sheila.
Sheila Carlson always had a smile and a laugh.
Rand Betty's daughter.
Yeah, she's passed away as well.
What are they dressed up for their church?
Well, they'd been to church. They all went to the Presbyterian church with me. Maybe I wasn't
Will
there that day.
there ever be evidence that you went to church?
I don't
Well,
know.
there is, Mike. We have evidence. Ellen Leonard says Bill Englehart and Greg Skinner were in church with us.
Oh, good. Thank
We
you,
were-
Ellen.
We were close, and it's so sad we lost Sheila and then Becky.
Yeah,
Yeah. I lost track of Linda. I don't know where Linda Callahan.
I don't know if she was, you know what? She's standing there. She was a poised young lady.
Yeah.
She lived in Huffer's house.
She lived in Hupper's house across for a catty corner from Casey's.
And
And
her
then
brother was in your class.
her brother Rudd Callahan was in my class. Great guy.
Strongest upper body in the school.
He was crippled from the waist down. He wore crutches, but he could do 100 push-ups in 10 seconds. Good guy. And then there was even an older sister, wasn't there? Wasn't there 3 of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't, Nancy
Nancy
Callahan. And Sheila's brother, of course, was Bruce.
Bruce Carlson,
Yeah.
who was the class of 63, I think.
I believe she's sister's class.
Yeah.
Okay,
So this is class of 66 right here.
but I did go to church, Ellen.
Well, I think Ellen just said that because she has a sweet spot for you.
Yeah, that might be it.
Well, for some reason, the rest of the pictures aren't coming up. So let me.
Well, so
We got one.
we got one picture got it right.
100%.
We have one picture.
Well, so you were up late last night getting that one picture right.
Yeah, he mentioned next week. I wonder what next. This sounds like a surprise
Well, this
to
is the
me.
easy week.
Yeah, this is church week.
This
maybe.
is church week. We get kind of cocky here. Get kind of.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not all coming up together like they're supposed to. There we go.
You do them one at a time. You're the computer whiz. Bill and I are lucky that Becky's here to turn the computer
Yeah.
on for us.
Then she left us.
Becky's not feeling good.
No, Becky's not in a good
Becky's
mood.
got the cahooties.
Yeah.
She got my cold. She's mad at me right now.
She wouldn't have gotten it if she hadn't chased her
I
in the
told her,
house.
quit kissing me.
Yes, right.
That looks
Oh
like
my goodness. 57 Chevy.
that looks like This is Cunningham, but it's not. Let's see whose house that is. 57 Chevy.
You know where that is? That's the church where we were married. That's on Pembroke, isn't it?
That's what Tim Hole says, taken in front of the old Lutheran church on Pembroke Street.
Yeah. It's a Lutheran church.
Right across the street, right behind about where that woman stands, was that big tree where I saw the owl. I wrote the article on.
Oh, yeah.
Halloween. Remember that big tree right there?
Right.
Dead tree?
Yeah. Who are these little yard rats?
That's a Lutheran.
I don't have any names on this one.
Reverend Frecky was there. Now that looks like the electrician who was Lutheran, I think. Lived down by the fire station. Lived up over Carl.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
What's his name?
Well, Karen Hafer tagged Sarah Brandenburg, said, "Look at your sweet family."
Yeah.
Oh, that's Sarah's mom and dad.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I can't think of his name. He's an electrician, worked out the plant.
He worked at the plant.
They lived in that house.
Sarah's a baby.
And Joy Fay tagged Doris Pickett. So I don't know.
No.
Why she tagged Doris.
They lived in that house. Starts with S.
Styles.
No. It's a house across from where Carl Ambulance is north. Tan house where the Morris kids lives.
Right.
Stanberry. Go backward.
Right.
That's Mr. Stanberry, Richard Stanberry. Only took me about 5 minutes. I think that's who it is.
Stanberry.
Yeah.
Sarah Brandenburg's mom and dad.
I can't really see that one. Can you blow that one up? It's kind of dark.
Yeah, that's one.
That's Jim Maxey on the left.
Oh my goodness.
Mark Maxey's dad, Jim Maxey. Played EI League baseball. He was a center fielder, really good athlete. That's where Mark became a good athlete. Or that's where Mark's athletic prowess comes from. There's a 57 car in the back.
Bob Butterback says Joe Fortney, I think means Fortney in middle.
Oh, there's actually a Fortney.
There's a Fortney?
Yeah.
Joe Fort. Well, that's what he said, Joe Fortney.
Yeah, well, that's Joe Fortney. Did he say Jim Maxey?
No.
Is that 57 Buick? Or old?
56 Oldsmobile, 57 O's.
Okay.
We're pretty good at cars.
Blow this one up a little bit.
Nope. Don't know.
Christy Townsend says Ann Frecky on the left.
Well, Anna Frecky, that was her son, was the minister, or her dad was the minister. And Reverend Frecky, and then their son Gerhard Frecky wound up being CEO of New England Telephone Telegraph.
He was in Boston
on the Kennedy Museum board in Boston. Very successful. Here we go, Bill. You can name all these guys.
No, I don't think so. That's a Ring on the right. Far right, that's Larry Ring.
Well, he wasn't Lutheran, though.
This is not the Lutheran church, is it?
Yeah. Well, let me see.
Well, let's identify that house.
What's the street? Go back to the street back there.
It's Houghton Street.
Well, this is the courthouse. This is the old First Christian Church. That's Milas Thomas's house in the background. That house on the left, they tore down and put a trailer there.
That's Milas's house.
Yeah, this is the house. The church is empty, standing there. It used to be the old United Church of Christ. The church got in a fight. Danny Brandon's dad was a minister. Got in a fight. They split in two. And one of the groups, led by Lee Allison, I think, went out to the North Line Road and built the Christian Church, First Christian Church.
They did split.
Yeah, and this one stayed here. So
this big tall kid looks like Phil Rome.
Well, let's blow it up
That's
a little bit.
what Janice Moody says, Phil Rome.
Blow it up a little bit. Let's see who these guys are. We should know some of these guys. Yeah, that's Phil. Is that Del Canetz on the right? Slide down to the right.
No, I don't think so. It definitely looks like Phil Rome.
These cars all look like 58. Yeah, that's the old United Church of Christ, I think, or First Christian Church, whichever. Now here's the Ring family.
That's the Rings for sure.
That's Kenny and Mary, and there's Larry and
Gary.
Gary. And
Kathy's little, Kenny's holding Kathy.
There's 58 Chevys in the back, two of them.
Man, that's a great picture.
Yeah.
Great family picture.
Yeah, he looks familiar.
Boy. That's Keith Hunt. That's Sharon Schultz. Sharon Hunt.
Sharon Schultz and Keith Hunt. I'll be darned. That is Keith.
That is Keith Hunt. I thought that looked familiar. Wow.
Wow. Wow, that's right.
So that'd be Brian that they're holding. He's holding, and so this would be before Brad was born, and they would, and Beth.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, I didn't know Keith could clean up like that.
He was really a good football player at Villa Grove, I believe.
I've never seen Keith in a coat and tie.
That's what I said. That's the first time I've seen him dressed.
But I miss Keith. He was a good guy.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Do anything for you.
I see Sharon all the time. Lives out in Parkview.
Yeah, I see. I eat out of the Moose on Thursdays. I see her out there a lot of times.
Somebody says Thursdays are beef Manhattan. They said it's really good. Is that right?
Yep, that's why I go.
There's Kathy Breen from my class. Second in from the left is Kathy Breen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's her sister, Nancy, maybe.
Nancy?
The oldest.
Yeah.
Is that her dad on the left? Is that Mr. Breen?
I don't know.
It could be her dad on the left. Nancy, class 65. I don't know the two people on the right.
Kathy's married to Vern Kleiss.
Married to Vern Kleiss. They live up in Philo now. Real nice house.
Okay.
Charlie, what is Charlie Breen? Wasn't that his name?
Charles Breen.
Charlie Breen.
Sue Gavin says on the far right is Betty and Harold Flume. And Judy Baumkamp, who's Judy Breen, says she's in the forefront holding her son Brent. Our daughter Lori is standing beside me, and my sister Kathy Kleiss is behind my right shoulder. My husband Norm was overseas serving with the United States Marines. This picture was taken on Easter Sunday, 1963.
What, did she identify the guy on the right as Charlie or not?
No, she didn't.
On the far, Sue Gavin said on the far right is Betty and Harold Flume.
How about the far left?
She didn't identify it.
Didn't say what his.
This is Judy Breen.
Was Judy the oldest?
She must be. Got two kids there, and her husband's overseas.
She just says the man on the left is not a Breen.
Well, sorry, Charlie.
You said Easter 1963?
Easter 1963. That was that picture. So now you should know this one.
Well, I've seen a picture of that older guy there, and I can't tell you who it is. But I've seen a picture.
Give us a hint.
Well, Ken Hedinger identified him.
Well, then it must be his grandpa.
That is George and Francis Hedinger.
Wow.
Wow.
I've seen a picture of him.
Yeah, I think we've had him before, maybe.
No, we got this one.
Could have them, not all of them.
Almost.
On the upper left is Waldo Ball.
ABC Club.
Waldo Ball wound up being national president, I think, of ABC. Waldo worked at DeKalb and just a swell guy.
What a wonderful person. Standing next to him in the background is Jack Wellens, police chief at Tuscola.
And then over on the far right was the sheriff of Douglas County, Raymond Lee Jr. No, Raymond wasn't sheriff.
No,
I think he just liked wearing that hat.
I think so. So
So
Ray Carlson's sitting at the table,
who's typing there?
but I don't know who's typing.
We should know this person too.
Well, I don't know who that is. He doesn't even really look familiar. Do you have the names on that?
Well, it's
When did Jack Willems leave Tuscola? He moved away altogether, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
well, Max Holbrook says he thought far left could be Frank Lincoln, but I don't think so.
No, that's Waldo Ball.
Waldo Ball, okay. Alan Mitchell says Waldo Ball, Ray Carlson, Jack Wellens, question mark, Raymond Lee. So basically only names I got are same names you guys got.
Okay.
My dad bought the old police car Jack used to drive, that old tan Ford, had a police interceptor engine. That's the one that you and I and Mark Bright Skinner drove from Tuscola to Charleston in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
Not supposed to tell all the stories.
well, that's Steve Beals on the right, and that's the Waldrop girl next to him on the right.
That is a long girl.
12 minutes, that sounds like an average of about 120 miles an hour.
Well, Bill, tell him how fast I was driving.
He was driving that fast plus.
The needle was buried.
Buried that baby.
I think it still stands as a record.
Is that her name was Vicky Waldrop?
I think that's on the right, your left.
That's yeah.
Steve Beals, probably class of 68.
You know what? Is that Marty Durnall?
Vicky, I think it is. Vicky Waldrop's next one in. Marty Durnall, Chuck Durnall's sister, maybe.
Possibly.
And who's that little girl?
That one I don't know. Isn't it something? Now, this is Easter Sunday, though, so everyone did dress up.
And this is that church down by the courthouse again. Back to the Catholic Church.
I don't have any names on this one.
Everyone put on their Sunday best. Isn't that something? It took that mother how much time to get those 3 kids dressed?
Well, think about this. They bought okay. On the right,
Roger Carl.
Roger Carl's on the right. That's his dad and mom and his younger brother. What was Roger's younger brother?
I don't remember his name, but his dad's name was Ralph, and he sold cars for profit.
Roger's on our right and your left. Roger was class of 64. That's his younger brother, and I cannot remember his name. In the background, looks like a 56 Buick on the right.
Pretty close.
And on the left is a 50.
An Oldsmobile, I think.
Or
Well, no, it had been a
Pontiac.
Well, maybe.
That straight line.
Yeah, see, Carl's is in high school there.
Yeah, right.
So this is the early 60s.
Yeah. I still think it's a 56 Buick on the right, though.
I think it is an older Buick.
Looks like Sini family.
That is Bob Sini.
And Sandy Sini on the right.
I'll be darned. Mrs. Sini in the middle. Goodness gracious.
And did they have a younger?
Oh, yeah, they had a younger sister. Well, my brain just went dead. God, beautiful girl. Jeez.
Looks like in the box a 57 Ford. Looks like it might be a 60 Olds. And a 59 Chevy.
That white one's got tail fins. Is that Cadillac?
No, it's a Chevy folded their fin over at 59, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Denny Schaefer, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Looks like Denny Schaefer.
Does look like him.
I don't know if it is.
Alice Hackle thought it was Dennis Schaefer, but then Alito Froman says looks like Judy Froman Powell.
Well, it does look like Judy Froman Powell.
Well, it may, but that's not Tom Powell with her.
No. Well, Judy would have been, she's class of 64. she's in high school there, so Denny would have been out of school by 2 or 3 years. She could have been dating Denny.
Possibly.
And there's that same, going back, there's that same 56 Buick, I think.
Well, it went to church often.
Well, I think maybe they live there, whoever, because it's there all the time.
That was Miss Gasaway's house. That's where Paul Wizavati lives now. But that was Miss Gasaway's. I remember her. She was a friend of Grandma Lucy's. God, she looks familiar.
Yeah.
Don't have a name on this one.
Oh man, we got to get it. Yeah. That's Jack Oakley.
You think that's Jack?
Yep,
Well,
that's Jack Oakley.
Jack, Millie, Neil, Jeff, Janice, and Mark Oakley,
Yep.
according to Marilyn Moody.
Oh, this kid, who is that? Look at that.
I know.
Gee, Matney.
Janice Moody says that's Denny Long and his grandparents.
No wonder. I knew him. That's Denny Long, yeah. Sure is.
From Pillar Grove?
No, Denny Long,
Oh,
Tuscola.
Tuscola. Yeah,
Worked at Panhandle.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, he's gone now. He died. He was our neighbor in Parkview for a while. I'll be darned.
Well, I worked with.
I knew I'd seen that face.
I used to work in the summers for Panhandle when I was going to school, and Denny worked out there
Mhm.
on the maintenance crew.
Don't have
Dottie,
anything.
Dottie Bechtel Browning tagged Mina Wells Greenlee and says that's Mina on the left.
You're all right.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how.
We're the opposite. We're the opposite of whatever you see, David.
Oh, yeah.
On our left is a woman with a white purse, for example.
Well, that's what I'm seeing on the left, too.
I don't know those folks. They donated a new piano?
Marilyn Moody says it's Mr. and Mrs. Woolman.
No,
Is that Ray?
no, I don't think so. Might be Mrs., but that's not Raymond Woolman.
Who said that?
Marilyn Moody.
Ray Woolman wore glasses.
I don't know. Could be him. Well, there's Mr. Jolly in the upper left-hand corner.
That's Willis Jolly on the far left. That's Mr. Polig. Next to him, down the front on the bottom right's Sipe, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Mr. Sipe. What was his name? Wayne Sipe.
Yeah. I worked for Willis.
You drove truck for Willis.
I drove truck for Willis Jolly.
That's probably.
Polling was Jules.
Yeah, Jules.
That's probably the height of your productivity in life.
Yeah, I was.
Either that or decal, driving for decal.
Yeah, I was very productive. I did a lot of things at night.
There's Ralph Allen on the left, Jim Maxey, and not sure who's on the right.
I don't know who's on the right.
Dawn Okon, Okon, says it's her great grandfather, Fred Renner.
That was us this week when Mike was sick.
Yeah, that's Bill. Bill tapping my lung fields. Is that the Cons?
I don't know. Not Claude Con. Do we have anything?
Phil Lamb says seated is Burgett,
Burgett.
Douglas County clerk for 20 years. The other is his son, Bill, conductor on the C&E-I Railroad.
Yep. They're Villa Grove guys.
Yeah.
Bill says I'm best friends with his son, Don.
Is it Burnett?
Burgett.
Burgett.
Oh, you just remember dating Jan Burnett.
Man.
Can't forget that.
No, you don't forget that. Skinner went with. Oh, gee.
Let's not get into that. Oh, that's the KSC. That's the entrance to the KSC. Where was that at, Bill?
Well, that's on Central there, up there by Community Building, isn't it?
There, Phil.
That was KSC next to
Tuscola Journal.
The Journal. I don't remember that. Yeah, I do.
Look at that stained glass window.
Yeah. Now that door, didn't Lecker buy that building or something? David bought that at one time. He owned that. And then it got torn down.
I
Thought so. Oh my goodness. Now I've talked about her and no one believes me. That's Priscilla Kiwana, who was our first foreign exchange student in about 1963 from the Philippines. Priscilla Kiwana, who's the guy?
I don't know, but Rosemary Smith confirms Priscilla from Philippines.
There you go.
That's interesting. We know who the Filipino is, but not the guy with her.
Rosemary, last I heard, was out in Denver somewhere. She was daughter to John Smith, the Smith brothers, John and Warren. She was John's daughter, I believe. Class of 63. Rosemary.
I don't know who he is, but he looks happy.
Well, he
was a foreign exchange student from Arcola. Oh, there's Wendell Schrader on the left.
Pop Schrader.
Pop Schrader and Dr. Lossman.
Dr. Lossman on the right.
Who never gave me a shot of Novocaine.
Man, boy, you can smell your teeth burn.
Boy, you could see him shooting out the ceiling.
Yeah,
in the ceiling.
They were sparking. I don't know who the gentleman is in the middle.
There's great Dick Helm. And that's his mom, Doris, on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Doris's husband and Dick's dad was a judge, Harley Helm, beloved judge. Everybody liked him. He wound up getting killed by a drunken driver. Dick was a Hall of Fame Tuscola athlete, scholar, went to Wheaton, Hall of Fame athlete, 3 sports, went on to be a coach, Hall of Fame in the Illinois coaches.
NBA.
Went on to coach in the NBA with Lenny Wilkins. He's a Hall of Fame assistant coach in Ohio. He's got more Hall of Fames than any graduate in the history of Tuscola. 80-some years old, he's still doing mission trips over to Europe for Christian athletes. One of the greatest guys you ever want to meet in your life. Is that your minister, Bill?
No.
Jerry Jones says that's Reverend Tagg, Methodist minister.
Nope.
Janice says it's Jane Mason Jones.
Who said that?
That's Jane Jones. Jane Mason.
Mm-hmm. And Jane commented, says, yes, I remember the dress, but I can't remember the event or the man's name. Mr. Fox, Mr. Turner, question mark. Probably about 1960 because I got glasses in 1961.
High quality photo.
Very much so. Very clear.
Debbie Carter says this is her Grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Finley.
Thank you.
So you guys disappeared there for a second.
Well, we've been known to. I see Sue Wetzel, but that's about the summation of
Second
it.
from left is the Sue Wetzel Gavin. These may be the county
DAR.
DAR winners or American Legion winners or whatever.
Yeah. That's what Sue Gavin says. 1963 DAR awardees.
Mm-hmm. Bill and I dated every girl in every other town. We should know those girls.
The girl in black looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joyce Henningsen Alexander says third from right is Cindy Livengood from Atwood.
Now the Livengoods.
The Livengood. Mildred Chapman is lady on the right end.
Mm-hmm. I can't see that one very well.
I can't see that.
You blow that up.
God, that gal on the right looks familiar.
Look at those pillbox hats.
Yeah.
Jan Hastings says on the right is Eloise Kennedy.
Okay.
No wonder.
And Janice Moody says Kleiss on the left.
First name?
Eileen.
Eileen
Kleiss' mom. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I was going to say Eileen. Now I remember.
She's your class, isn't she?
Eileen. No, she was younger. She was about 68.
68.
But she had
lived out there on Prairie Street.
Yeah, where Steve Wetzel lived for years. You know what? That's Eileen Kleiss' mom. I remember a girl that Eileen Kleiss had come and visit with her because I was friends with her.
I bet you were. Did you like go out and have coffee with her? Just nice.
She was from Guatemala.
Yeah, I like it when they couldn't speak English.
You didn't know when they said no.
Well, back to church. That's a Reverend Tagg. I never knew him.
I remember Lemcow and all kinds of it. I don't remember Tagg.
And Mrs. Tagg.
We assume.
It's a nice picture.
Well, that's what Jerry Jones says. So she was the children's choir director.
We need McCumber here. Oh, yes. Boy, there's a good picture.
There you go. One of the famous brothers.
Boy, that's Dick Lake. Richard Lake. He and K.O. Lake built a lot of homes in Tuscola and around Tuscola. Dick was a P-51 fighter pilot, World War II, and I believe 3 confirmed kills in World War II. I played golf with him.
Dick was a great guy.
That's his son, Gary.
His wife, Kay, was a part-time court reporter. Wonderful, wonderful woman.
Dick Lake was really a nice person.
K.O. and Dick. I didn't know K.O. I hardly ever talked to K.O., but I did.
K.O. didn't talk much.
K.O. didn't talk much. And when he did say something, he didn't talk much. But Richard was very affable and easy to talk to. Richard did a lot of Frank Lincoln had Richard do a lot of the fixing up at the courthouse, banisters, did a lot of the woodwork, did a great job. K.O. built a great house. You always wanted to get a house built by K.O. Lake if you could. Now, they worked together for a while, didn't they?
They built Sherman Marshes. Yeah, they worked together.
Then they broke up.
Then they broke up, yeah.
Oh, that's the Methodist church there.
Yeah. Otherwise, I was going to say it was me.
And that old Dodge. You see an old Dodge back here? Like
That's,
about a 56
that's Gary Lake.
That's Gary. Okay.
Huh.
Pete Nuccio. You know, you had pictures last week of the Numismatic Society. And that's Pete Nuccio. When I was a state attorney, he was a probation officer. Pete lived a couple houses down from the old North Ward.
And that's Pete Cunningham in the black coat.
Looks like little Nikki Flesser on the left, or Jan Jameson.
Jan Jameson.
Could be
Harry
Jan.
Brewer says it's Jan Jameson.
Jan lived across the street from Pete.
These guys were all neighbors of Gary
Yeah,
Brewer's.
all of them. Gary Brewer, that neighborhood right there east of the old North Ward. Gary Brewer, Denny Maddox, Jan Jameson,
Jim Glenn.
Jimmy Glenn, his parents Oliver. Pretty good neighborhood.
Here in the middle looks familiar.
Yeah.
What's these trophies?
I don't have any names on this one.
Coin
collectors. This was a contest to see who they could cross their legs most.
Without getting cramps.
Yeah.
There's a Bill cleaned out his pickup truck. Where is that? What are they cleaning out there? Is that the concrete plant? What is that?
Looks like a depot behind him.
But it does. Looks like the IC maybe. Well, there's a parking meter right there.
Yeah.
But the zero on that guy on top looks like Danny Lee.
That's because of the hair.
Look at that hair.
Yeah.
That's 57. That's Elvis. That's Elvis's brother.
DA.
That's Elvis's brother, Leroy. Leroy Presley.
I don't have any names on this one either.
That's in a cemetery.
Yeah, there's the old huddle across. Is that the huddle across the street?
Yeah, it is.
Maybe.
Must be Veterans Day. Oh, that's your dad.
He's cleaning up his very first Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Typewriter.
This was I think this was before I was born, but this was a USI picture. They did a little write-up in their publication. It's my dad, Frank, with an 1898 Blickensderfer, which is sitting across the room from me.
Yeah. That's what Bill and I learned to type in high school on. Miss Magnuson taught us on a Blickensderfer.
Blickensderfer.
Well, they were from Cerro Gordo.
Yeah.
You may remember back in the, I don't know, probably in the late 70s, early 80s, IBM Selectric used a typing ball instead of keys.
Right.
They had a ball. And he's showing how that same technology was used in the late 1800s on this Blickensderfer. Yeah. That's a typing cylinder.
Bill and I played basketball against the Blickensderfers boys in Cerro Gordo.
So
I'll be darned.
Then we had that picture already.
Oh, yeah. Back to the girls.
Back to the beginning.
Well, I should have been standing out front with them.
Well, you dated either one of them.
No.
Hey, so David, we're done with the golden era of Tuscola.
Well, we're done with that batch anyway.
Well, that's called the golden era.
I think we've got a surprise coming next week.
I bet next week we won't know anybody.
I don't think we will.
We do have a surprise coming next week. This is my envelope full of
Give us a taste.
Hold one up.
Let me.
Yeah, just come on, hold one up.
Tickle our fancy.
We're kind of anxious.
They're negative. If I can find the one that I'm.
Oh, well, that's
we could probably better identify a negative than a positive.
Be at church.
Yeah, there's one. Give me a second to find the one that.
Find one with Englehart and the Lord close to each other. I'm worried about your soul. I've never seen that in a church.
I'm beginning to worry.
The only thing that's going to get you into heaven is Ellen Anderson's testimony.
Think about it.
There's I'm going to pause for a second. I found the negatives, And so I had the dates. I looked up the paper, and I found this.
Oh, that's it. June 26, 1969.
Bill and I were just last Wednesday, we went out to the cemetery and found his headstone.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill told me who killed him. And he's going to reveal it next week on the podcast.
That is a teaser.
Look at that cord. That cord was an expensive car.
Yeah. Here's the article on the right about the WCIA doing that special, and I just went crazy. I had a copy made of that program. We had it at East Prairie for many years. Don't know whatever happened to it.
It said there were several people arrested in different parts of the United States, but they all had perfect alibis.
Yeah, no, they weren't going to get this guy.
Yeah, one guy said his gun was in getting washed.
See down there at the bottom where it says Thomas Haynes, then manager of the Parkway Garage, received a telephone call. So I went over to Tom's house and talked to him about it. And Mary talked about it too that night. You know, everybody was in tune to this. That was a big deal. Yeah, he must have drove that car right out by his stone.
Right where he's buried.
You couldn't think of that, eh?
Yeah.
We were just out there. Aren't there stones on the other side of that?
Well, Denny Dietrich wouldn't let you do that.
So that's a cord. You know, that car would have kind of stood out in Tuscola.
Oh, it did. It stood out and people saw it. And Berlin Obrecht was the last one to actually see the guy, knew what he looked like. Talked about his mustache. He had a dark mustache. When he turned to
Bill's gonna reveal it next week.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell it all.
Listen in. We've got protection going to be here for him.
I'll need it. Raymond Stokes is going to hit me with lightning.
Bill's going to solve this 100-year-old murder mystery. 90.
Bill told me last week to find that article, and I was looking through the negatives, and I found one that marked Burmeister, and it was the photos for that article.
So next week, we're going to look at photos from 35.
Hey, is that the one that has the sketch of the pencil sketch of the funerals there at the funeral home? I wonder.
I don't remember seeing a pencil.
I got that paper somewhere. I think it's up in the cedar chest. I think Andre got tired of hearing about
it. So Bill's going to tell us next week who all about it, who the killer was, who
killed Ed Burmeister. I convinced Bill that he's going to die soon, and when he dies, the mystery is going to disappear.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a chance in a lifetime to clear a mystery.
And what better time than when I found the article that you told me to find,
and while you're still breathing.
Well, I wanted you to be able to solve the mystery
while you're breathing.
You know, David, I think enough of you after all this time. I may confide to you what happened.
Well, you need to confide it to somebody.
David, you can write a big article about it and win some kind of National Humor Award.
Yeah.
Make it funny somehow.
Get another plaque.
You need one more plaque. Your house is going to fall down if you get any more plaques.
The wall's going to fall over.
It's going to fall over on you.
Yeah, most of them are sitting in boxes.
So we got a big week to look forward to next week.
Oh, well.
That's what you're saying, because Bill's going to do the big reveal.
It may be off camera.
Bill's going to do the reveal.
The big reveal.
Well, I've just been told that I'm going to pass on here pretty soon, so I have to get rid of this information. That's comforting. Yeah. I really feel good about that.
Good friends should tell each other the truth.
Well,
and all the great men are dead except you and I. We don't look so good.
Well, Bill, Mike's probably closer than you are, and Mike needs to know before he goes.
Well,
He's hacking a little.
I got the death rattles right now, but I want to go. I want to leave this earth knowing that the world knows who killed Ed Burmeister.
It was a hard hit.
Well, who?
Well,
The murder.
we don't know the name of the guy that pulled the trigger.
No, but you know who hired him.
Yeah.
Well, about time to close down.
See, Bill's getting, circumspect, ready to close down.
I may have a mark on me.
Well,
So that's something to look forward to for next week. We're going to discuss, we may make the entire program on the Burmeister murders.
yeah,
If I'm still alive.
I'll provide protection for what little I.
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
I'm right behind you. I'll go grab my 5-iron.
So tune in next week for the big reveal.
Yeah.
What year was the murders?
1935.
1935. I think it's time to
I
come
was 7
clean.
years old.
1935, that's before my dad was born.
My dad was 15 at the time. My mom was 13.
So 88 years after the murder, I think it's time to reveal.
Well, I think so. Even the Kennedy assassination, they know now more than they know.
Rob Reiner says he knows.
Well, we should reveal the Kennedy assassination while we're at it.
Well, while we're at it, we'll discuss Area 51.
We can have Rob Reiner come on the show.
We'll do a double reveal. Who killed Ed Burmeister at 35 and who killed Kennedy? I'll give you a hint on Kennedy. Oswald.
All right.
David,
Something to look forward to.
Photos. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you
We
next.
enjoyed it. Thanks, David.
Yep.